At DePaco Credit Union, we value your health and happiness as much as your financial well-being. We encourage the volunteer spirit by providing DePaco employees with the tools and resources to help grow our communities and support the causes that matter to us. We believe that giving back not only strengthens the places we call home, but also enhances our overall well-being. Well-being is the key to a life worth loving. So when you think about yours, remember that DePaco can help you be well.
All things Hawkeyes, your all-access pass. From courtside to the postgame. Iowa's News Now Sports presents Eye on the Hawks. Sponsored by DePaco Community Credit Union and Pin Seekers.
It's a game on the road in the Big Ten, and they're hungry to get the win. It's going to be tough. We kind of had the mentality that it's a 10-game conference tournament, and we're on game 2 now. And it's win or go home, so we got to bring it.
Well, hopefully they do come home regardless after that game. A late game, as we'll get to later on Eye on the Hawks. Welcome to the show today. We've got Owen Sebring and Mike Howell here on Eye on the Hawks. Thank you for joining us again. And I know before we got into things, Mike said that he wanted to have a little game played with me today.
I got a little show and tell.
Yeah, what's this he got for me?
So I was on eBay. A couple friends told me about this jersey from my college days.
Okay.
I want to see if you know who
props.
this player is. Yes, I have a prop. It's a game-worn jersey.
Okay.
Number 15.
That's not Jared Uthoff, is it?
No, he might have been 15. Do you know who Devin Ballwinkle is?
I've never heard this name before.
He was a player, I think, my junior year or sophomore year in college under Todd Licklider.
Uh-huh.
And I've got some crazy stats. He was primarily a three-point shooter.
Okay.
Came from West Virginia. He played for West Virginia in 06-07 and didn't play the next year because you had to sit out a year.
Was he on their team that went to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 with Kevin Pittsnoggle and all those guys?
That is a good question. I'll have to double check that.
Okay.
Started 9 games in 08-09.
Nice.
And
wow, he was a starter, and I've never heard of this guy. Okay.
Well, 9 games out of 32.
Yeah.
He shot 144 shots that year. 5 of them were 2-pointers. He would just sit in the corner and jack up threes. So it was like a little inside joke. We'd play beer pong and be like, Ballwinkle for 3. But Iowa wasn't that great that year. So
it helps that his name is Ballwinkle. Let me look at this guy on College Basketball Reference. So, yeah, back in the days where you actually had to sit out a year when you transferred somewhere. Is this guy from Iowa or something, or why did he come to Iowa from West Virginia? Was 08-09, was that the first Licklider
He's from Illinois.
Year? He's from Illinois?
I think that was the second Licklider year.
Okay. Or so 07-08, so he might have transferred in when Licklider got here. Second year at Iowa, 32 of 84 on three-point attempts. His last year, every single shot that he made and took was a three-pointer, it appears. He was 32 of 84 on three-pointers and field goal percentage.
His final year at West Virginia was a deep NIT run, so...
Might have been the year after.
Anyway, we don't have to spend that much time talking about him. I just got that in the mail today, so I wanted to bring it in.
This would be a good implement on the show, when it comes up on X where somebody's like, name a random football player, and there's 18,000 replies of just the most random people.
There was a random one about that for college basketball, and some, I think, Wisconsin fan was like, Peter Jock torched Iowa for 34 points one random night.
Torched Iowa?
Torched Wisconsin. It was a Wisconsin fan, yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. Is Peter Jock, is he a random one? I feel like for Hawkeye fans, he's a well-known enough entity.
I think if it's a national, it's not like a random Hawkeye, but if you're a national basketball account, yeah, I'd say so.
That is 2024 Summer Olympian Peter Jock to you, young man.
For the South Sudan, right?
That's right, yeah, he's an Olympian. And regardless, welcome to Eye on the Hawks. We're going to get to more modern events, I think, now. So we're going to tee it up with Pin Seekers here in the DePaco studio, thanks to our sponsors that keep us rolling every single week here in the DePaco studio. So first off, we've got the good news. We're going to be talking about the Hawkeye men's basketball team and everything going on there right now in the midst of a 4-game win streak. Of these last 4 wins, Mike, which one do you think has been the most impressive? Where have they looked their best?
I think those are two different answers.
Okay.
They've looked their best, I think, against Oregon. Now, Oregon's not the greatest team. I thought they looked like they played a complete game on Sunday. Yeah.
Firing, yeah.
Bennett Stirtz scores 32 points, a career high. Brendan Hawson got some extended minutes.
That's right.
Might talk about that later. But I think the most impressive win was, it's either Indiana or USC. Indiana was on the road, and it was a dominant win, like 15, 20 points, however much it was. But USC just gave up the lead, steady hand, still won, took care of
down
business.
Early, didn't score a point for the first 6 minutes or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down early. That's been happening, and it's been kind of annoying when you watch it. But yeah, I mean, what do you think?
I would still probably say that Indiana is the biggest resume builder
Road game?
in there. Yeah, road game. You win by 17 points against a good team. Doesn't hurt that it's against the coach that a lot of Hawkeye fans wanted to be leading this program this year. So probably had to feel pretty good for Ben McCollum that it's like, oh, who's the bridesmaid now? But yeah, the USC one, I was at that game in the second half, and just very impressive resilience in that one. I didn't get a chance to. I was in Chicago this weekend with my girlfriend, and so didn't get a chance to see much of the Oregon game. But that too is an impressive one, and one that I just like because Brendan Hausen, like you say, got a chance to see some extended minutes, and that's what we've been waiting so much of the season for. So maybe that is the game that has a turning point, or this whole stretch seems like, if nothing else, even though 4-game win streak is nice, it does feel like this maybe is the turning point in the season, because it's not just Hausen, but it's like, gosh, the last few podcasts we've been talking about how badly Alvaro Folgueras has played lately, but like he's starting to turn the corner now where he's like looked pretty good. He was critical to that USC win, and then he looked good. I forget what he did against Rutgers, but I know he had big numbers in that Oregon game too, didn't he?
Yeah. He's played pretty well. I actually got a graphic if Aker wants to pull it up. I was going to talk about it later, but the last 2 games that he's played for Iowa, let me pull this up real quick. There it is. So last 2 games, he's averaged 14.5. He scored just under 30 points. The previous 5, 2.6. So like combined. And when you look at his 3-point percentage, last 2 games, he's been shooting close to 40 at 38%. In the previous 5 games, that 5-game stretch, he's been shooting 15%, so like not a threat offensively from the distance. And then rebounds a game, averaged 6.5 for the last 2 games. Before that, it was 2.8, so not even getting those rebounds.
With you watching these games so diligently, what's it led to this increased production with him? Is it just that maybe Ben's seeing something in practice that is leading to more confidence in him being out there? Like, do you see something different in his abilities when he's out there? Is he playing better defense? Is he playing with shooting? Is he shooting with more confidence?
Hard to tell. He did speak to the media, and he was talking about how he has been playing with confidence the last few weeks. I think the defense, at least from what I could tell when Ben McCollum talks to the media, the defense has been there. He said that's why he keeps playing him, even when he wasn't scoring that option. But Ben keeps going back, like, that's what we need. And I agree with him. If I was going to make a run in March, or at least just keep winning games, like they need Alvaro Folgueras to play well offensively. They need a second option.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and he is such a I've grown to like his role coming off the bench. Like at the beginning of the season, I think we thought he'd be a starter, and then he wasn't. But I do kind of like that idea of a guy who does come off the bench and can still get 12 to 15 points for you. Like that's kind of a perfect role for him when you have Bennett Stirtz in there scoring, and you have Tavion Banks who's emerged as a scoring threat, and now you have Alvaro coming off the bench and providing more of a scoring threat when those guys need to take a breather, which. I know Bennett Stirtz is not want to take a lot of time on the bench, but when he does, you definitely need somebody there to pick up the scoring pace. We've got a few topics I know you want to get to, Mike. So what do I have here? I see we have 4 topics that we want to talk about on today's show.
So yeah, I was kind of looking at the headlines of this team, and I just kind of wanted to. I was wondering, and I'll read them off, and I want your opinion on what's the biggest headline, or what's the reason Iowa has won these 4 games in a row. Mm-hmm. So number 1, Bennett scores 2,000 points, Big Ten Player of the Week this week, new career high, 32 points. Out of any level, that's the highest he's scored. It's kind of shocking, that 32.
Really?
Yeah. He was talking about it.
That does shock me. Okay.
So that's 1. 2, which we just talked about, Alvaro shows out last 2 games. Mm-hmm. Number 3, Tavion Banks is hurt. Season low in minutes last week. Ben said this morning, that he will probably play at Washington on Wednesday, but wasn't 100%. 4, Halston gets major minutes for the first time in conference play.
So the question is, what?
Like, what's the biggest headline right now, at least in the week? I was just going back about this men's basketball team. Like, what's the headline? What's the narrative going into kind of a 5th game where it's not a ranked team, but, Iowa still needs to win a couple of these games just to stay on track to maybe move up a seed line.
Yeah. So what's kind of the most important thing going on, right? I'd still say that I think it's the emergence of Fulgaris, that it's him finally coming to life after – I mean, it's not like he has been doing poorly all year. He's had stretches where he's really played well, but now it's like these last couple games we've seen like what he is fully capable of. And I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe there were a lot of Hawkeye fans worried about, like, is Alvaro a bust, and is he going to, just get these same, limited minutes for the rest of the year and then transfer somewhere else at the end of the season? But now seeing him in there playing 27 to 28 minutes these last 2 games, 14 and 15 points, like actually making shots in critical minutes. I mean, I really can't stress enough. Like, I don't know if Iowa wins the USC game if not for Alvaro Fulgaris. Like, he had some really crucial shots that, like, while they were still trying to maintain that lead in the final minutes, he was making buckets that helped them keep that lead, until the very end at least. So I would say for me, it remains the emergence of Alvaro Fulgaris and him hopefully coming into the form that he needs to be for this Hawkeye team.
And just to be different, because I think that does, and I call them, I think, at the second scorer, but really that's Tavion Banks this season. He's the second leading scorer. I know right now he played a season low in minutes against Oregon. He only played 11. And Ben didn't really say what his injury was. Just expecting him to come back.
What did he say? I think he talked about it just briefly in his Zoom interview earlier this morning as we record on Tuesday, February 3rd, that he just said that he was kind of sore. He had some muscle soreness, I think, late in that game. So that's all that we've heard, but he seems to be pretty confident he's going to be playing again against Washington.
Yeah, so, I'll go with Brendan Hawson getting in the lineup. We've been talking about it all season. Mm-hmm. Kind of shocking. He started at Kansas State last year. Mm-hmm. He averaged, 10 points, maybe 6 points. I can't remember how much it was. For a Big 12 team, now they weren't that great. Comes to Iowa. We were talking to several reporters who we just thought penciled to put him into the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. He's not in the starting lineup. Right. And moving forward, on Sunday, he comes in, plays his most minutes since Bucknell on December 20th. Mm-hmm. And scores 11 points, which is the most since the game before when they played Western Michigan. And, every time Halston gets brought up, because it's one of the few Power 5 transfers that came in, mm-hmm. Why is he not playing? Right. Why can't he be a factor? Ben's been saying all year he's one of the greatest teammates. He's going to win a game for us this year. That's what he's been saying. On Sunday, he said Brendan's lost 20 pounds. He's really picked up on defense. Since he came in, 20 pounds since he came in. And he's the definition of what we want as a Hawkeye. So, I mean, from the way he's talking, but he's kind of talked like this all season, it makes me think he's going to be a major factor going through. And when I say major, it's not like second or third option, but just more minutes. I don't know if we go stretches without seeing him play, like 4 games like we have.
Mm-hmm. Yes, just looking at some of his minutes from K-State last year, averaged 10 points. Basically, every single category you can look at, he is down on. 0.6 steals, 0.8 assists, 2.5 rebounds a game he had this year. This year he has 0.8. His 3-point percentage is similar, down a bit. He was a 38.8 shooter last year. This year, 37.3. So I think the only reason I didn't pick that one is because it's like it still feels like it's to be determined. Mm-hmm. Like, was this Oregon game an outlier just because Oregon's not that good of a team, or is this like the kind of tune-up game for Brendan Hawson? And is this the game where it's like he wanted to get him in there against a okay Big Ten opponent, if you can call Oregon okay? And now, I mean, gosh, so he played 11 minutes there. 15 minutes, 11 points. Those 2 columns on Iowa's stat line in their box score always trips me up. But having played 15 minutes and scored 11 points, that has to be something that at least proves something to the coaching staff. They're like, all right, this is a guy that we need to get in there a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%. And there were games when you go through the season where he doesn't even see the floor. So it's kind of weird. Yeah. And maybe I'm premature on saying that I think he's going to be a role player moving forward. But I just think if his defense is picked up, like the coach has said, like he said, he's just a player that can help spread the floor, especially when you kind of want that with Bennett and Tavion trying to get to the rim and stuff. So it makes sense to me. I don't know what Ben has in mind, though.
The amount of minutes he played against Oregon are more than every other game in 2026 combined for him. He played 7 against Minnesota, 1 against Indiana, 4 against USC, 0 against Rutgers. So that was, not just.
Did you say 2026?
In the calendar year 2026.
Okay.
So, like, since we actually moved over to 2026, yes.
Yeah, because the games before the turn of the year.
Yeah, he had
He
there.
played like 15, 20 minutes. But no, I get you.
Yeah. So could be a new change, and we could see that as soon as Wednesday night when they tip off against Washington, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. Our night will be over before they hardly hit the second media time out there on the West Coast. So let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Hawkeyes and what they have in store ahead of them. Kind of still remaining over this next week and a half or so with what looks to be their easiest part of their remaining schedule, where they have Washington, who I don't want to say Washington's an easy opponent. They're a solid team that's going to be on Wednesday night. That would be a quad 1 win if they pick that up, right?
Yep.
And then they go back home to Carver. Going to be flying back in, I'm sure, if that game gets over at 12:30 Central Time.
They said they'll come in at 6 in the morning. That's what a reporter said to Ben, and he kind of was like, yeah, we'll probably give him Thursday off.
Smart idea. Just roll straight into practice after you get off the plane. So they're going to be coming back and then playing at home against Northwestern on, what day is that? Is that this coming Sunday?
Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday at 2 p.m. I know.
Ouch.
That might be an empty one.
Go to that one?
I'm going to go, yeah. It's at 2.
Yeah, you're boycotting the Super Bowl, right?
Well, no, I'm going to watch it. I can get home for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because it's too woke, right? No.
Yeah. No, I just hate the Seahawks, and I hate the Patriots. It's like, don't really care for either team.
Yeah. It's
who said this yesterday? The Patriots didn't, in the newsroom, the Patriots didn't hurt long enough. Oh, you weren't here. Patrick said it.
I have said that same thing, though.
It's like it's BS. You have this dynasty, and you're in like 10 Super Bowls over like 15 years, and then you're bad for one single year or 2 years, and
you
now
haven't earned the right to be good
get out
again.
Of here. So
it's unfair.
It's going to make me root for the Seahawks, and I hate the Seahawks being a Packer fan. They beat us in the playoffs like a couple times in heartbreaking fashion. So, I'll watch it just to say I watched it, but won't be happy.
The completionist in me needs me to watch it just because I watch every Super Bowl, so it's like I will. My eyeballs will intake it, but neither outcome is going to make me happy. I really hate the Patriots a lot, so I would like to see them lose, and it doesn't make me unhappy either that neither Bill Belichick or Robert Kraft are getting into the Hall of Fame. Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
See if I care.
Don't care.
So nevertheless, Super Bowl Sunday against Northwestern, and then they after that have Maryland, and after that is their maybe toughest challenge of the season when they host. Well, outside of their previous game against Purdue, when they host Purdue now this time.
Well, they do play Nebraska twice.
That's true. I guess
and they play Michigan at home.
If you think Purdue or Nebraska is a tougher opponent, who's to say right now? But that Maryland game, you hope that too does not end up being a trap that they fall into. Boy,
I think Maryland is truly terrible. The other two games are going to be tricky, though, in my opinion.
Which two?
Northwestern and Washington.
Okay.
I was just looking it up. Maryland Purdue finally got a win. They had lost 3 in a row, so they lost to Illinois at home, Indiana on the road, and then
they beat Maryland, right?
They lost to UCLA first on the road,
Yep.
Illinois at home, and then at Indiana, and then finally beat Maryland a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
So Northwestern always gives Iowa trouble, I feel like, in every sport. I don't think they're that great, but they do have the Big Ten's leading scorer, Nick Martinelli. Right now, he's scoring 23 points a game. Washington is very sneaky, I think. You look at the record, they're 12-10. You think, maybe this is a team Iowa should roll just like Oregon. Their last 9 games are 3-6, but those 6 losses include 5 top 15 teams.
Really?
Illinois, Nebraska, Michigan State, Michigan, and Purdue have all been in the last 9 games.
Yeah.
So that, are you going to fault them for losing those games?
Yeah.
Like a lot of teams, those are really good teams. 2 of them, maybe even 3 are like Final Four contenders. I would say all 5 are Final Four contenders.
Washington, it's not an exact parallel, but Washington feels a little bit like the USC team that the Hawkeye women just lost to, and that it's like, the record maybe isn't there, but still, like, this is a quality opponent that's just taking some L's against a really good team. They've got this, how do you say his first name? Is it Hannes Steinbach?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know it's Steinbach. I was going to go with Steinbach. He's from Germany.
Yeah. 11.4 rebounds a game, leading the Big Ten. Only Big Ten player who's averaging double figures in rebounds. I know Iowa's had their struggles with rebounding this season, so that could be what what ends up dictating that game. Are you one who buys into like the game time problem, like with it being a incredibly late start, that's going to be an issue for the Hawkeyes?
I don't think so, just because it's college kids. Ben, talking to the media today, he made a good point. Like, most of the kids go, stay up until 1 anyway.
Yep.
Most college kids, and I certainly did when I was in college.
Samesies.
Now I go to bed a little earlier. You probably stay up a little later since you work until like 11 every night. But I don't could it? I think maybe. I don't think, I'm not going to blame that if Iowa loses on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Unless someone falls asleep on the court.
Yeah. Could be Ben McCollum. He as a senior member of that team. But yeah, this is another crucial, at least 3-game stretch where it's like, you have excusable losses for the Hawkeyes coming up where you're like, all right, if they're not going to win every game, they still can afford a loss to Purdue. Nobody's going to hold that against them when it comes to NCAA tournament time. Same with Nebraska. Michigan, they have games that are going to be like potential losses that you'd be okay with, but still these next 3 games are going to be critical in terms of like keeping that relevance and remaining a team that you want people talking about. But we did get a chance to hear from Ben McCollum this Tuesday morning. So, Mike?
Real quick, right? I just want to put out the point. What you said I think is 100% correct. You have games that are excusable if you lose. Here's why I think this Washington game is bigger than maybe some people are saying, is because it is one of those quad 1 opportunities, the rare ones that aren't against a top 15 team.
It's true.
So if you can get this, and I think Wisconsin's the other one, an away game at Wisconsin, and maybe get those 3 wins, and then peel off one of the 4 against Michigan, Nebraska, and Purdue, then you're sitting at 4 quad 1 wins. I know you probably have you're probably 4-8, but in those top 2 quads, you'll be 500 or a little over 500. Maybe that gets you to a 6 seed. Maybe that gets you off the 7 seed, so you're not playing like a UConn, or UConn's probably a 1 seed right now. But who are those other teams like? At
the top, it's Arizona, Michigan, UConn, and Duke are like the 4-1 seeds, and then you've got like Illinois, Iowa State, Gonzaga.
So you're not playing a Gonzaga, or I doubt they put Iowa State. But if it's 2 Big Ten teams in Iowa State, you don't want to play them in the second round.
Michigan State would be up there too. That's a possible 2 seed. Yeah, that's true.
I think they try to avoid the Big Ten teams, but there's a lot of good teams that you don't want to play. And if you're in the 6th line, you're playing a 3 seed. So it's just that, that's why I think this game is so big. So
yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And Washington, it's a weird team that I am surprised almost that they're a quad 1. They would be a quad 1 opportunity just because, again, as an AP voter this year, I really try to scan through, see who I'm voting for, see who's doing well in the net, who's doing good in the power rankings, who's who the other voters are voting for. I'll go check their resumes too. And it's Washington has never even crossed my mind to put them in the top 25. They had an early loss to Baylor. They lost not long after that to Colorado and UCLA. They lost to Seattle early there. So it's the L's are certainly there, and they've been one that, I as a voter have never even considered putting them in my top 25, but still somehow they've managed to make their way into a quad 1 win, which is good news for Iowa if they happen to pull that one off.
If there's any viewers here that are unsure of what the quadrant is when you play an away game, it's 1 through 75 in the net. So I think even if we play Northwestern at home, but I'm pretty sure if we played Northwestern on the road, that would be a quad 1 win as well.
Really?
Because they're 71 in the net.
Wow.
Which, anyone unfamiliar, I think the cutoff is around most tournament teams are, I think, in the better than 50 at large. Obviously, if you win your conference tournament, it doesn't matter what your net is, you're in automatically. But for at-large teams, I think the cutoff is usually around 40 to 50. There might be someone who's in the 60s, but that's kind of rare.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing. Yeah, a team like Northwestern that's 10-12 right now. What's Iowa's net right now?
They're 19th.
19th?
Yep. Man. Let me double check. That's actually Ken Palm. Let me double check the net.
You've
Ken Palm 19th.
Ken Palm 19th?
Yeah.
You've had to explain the quad situation to me before.
19 in the net.
So, yes. Who is deciding the net? Like, how is the net decided? I mean, even at the start of the year, like, how is somebody, like, putting together who is number 1 through 25 or 300 in the net?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I have the answer to that, but the net doesn't come out till December, and they use a lot of metrics, so it's basically a computer model.
I see. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Well, nevertheless, the schedule is what it is for the Hawkeyes coming up, and Ben McCollum had a chance to talk today about what the Hawkeyes have ahead of them these next few weeks.
Yeah, I mean they're talented. I mean they went into the transfer portal and they got after it in the transfer portal, and ironically their best player is a high school kid in Steinbach, and so yeah, I mean they're elitely talented. They're big. They're physical. I think Danny does a great job of putting them in position to put pressure on the rim. They play hard. They offensive rebound. They do a lot of different things. And to be honest, I think they have had, if it's not the toughest schedule in the Big Ten, it's pretty close. Just from the Big Ten schedule, where they, a lot of the road games that they've been, Purdue, Indiana. They've been to a lot of the more difficult places, and then Illinois, and then they've had some, even their home games are Michigan State and Michigan, and so it's pretty difficult schedule that they've had.
And again, we want to thank Pin Seekers for helping us tee things off for us today on Eye on the Hawks. Continue just following coverage with us as we keep following the Hawkeye men's team as they move forward and creep their way closer into the top 25. I remember last week, Mike, you asked me what it would take for the Hawkeyes to get back into my personal Associated Press top 25 polls, and they did get there. I think I said if they won these 2 games, they'll be certainly under strong consideration, and indeed they did. They made that top 25 spot, which I don't know. I wonder if this is true for voters across the country. I don't know a lot of them. I know a few of them, or at least I know of a few of them. Not like I'm in personal contact with any other AP voters, but like
collusion.
I feel like some people might see the Hawkeye logo next to my name, that they put in the AP just because they put like what team you cover the most closely. If people see my name there and are like, oh, this guy's just a Hawkeye homer, and I'm like, I feel like covering the Hawkeyes makes me way more like critical of Iowa than any other team in the country. And I wonder if other voters are the same, where it's like the closer you cover the team, the more critical you are of who they are and what they do and their wins and their losses. You might look at that more like with more of a fine-tooth comb than any other team.
I'd agree with that. You watch all their warts, and like basketball, like rare is a team like perfect every night.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you just watch a random game.
Right.
If you box score watch too, like I think Texas Tech has had a few losses over the past weeks, but they lost to a close game at home against Kansas last night when Darren Peterson hit 2 threes at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like let's not criticize them that much. And they lost to they beat a team over the weekend, I think Houston. I could get these wrong because I watched all of them and it's been like the past 3 weeks. And they beat BYU and lost to like Houston at home. So like
you're talking about Kansas or Texas Tech?
Texas Tech.
Yeah.
They're a very good team.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're box score watching, you're like, oh, 2 losses in a row, you might dock them. Because
they lost to UCF, who's a good team.
Oh, that's right. They lost to UCF over the weekend.
Yep.
But before that, didn't they beat BYU and maybe lost to Houston?
No, they beat Houston and they beat BYU.
Okay,
prior
so
to that.
I got the Houston game wrong.
They lost to Houston earlier in the year.
Oh, I see. So they flip-flopped.
Yep.
I think I watched the one they lost. Anyway, what I'm saying is just like you take 1 week out of it and you're just looking at scores and maybe a team plays 2 really good teams and has 2 losses. If you didn't watch them play and you don't know how they played, it could distort it for you. So, and it's hard for voters to watch every single game.
Right. And I've been so curious. Like there are some weeks where I'm like, how are other voters still voting for Iowa in their top 25? They stink right now. But yeah, like you say, if they just are watching the scores and nothing else, then their resume might look a little bit better than you think. Like the USC game even is like, oh, man, pulled out a close win against USC. They didn't see them start the game going 0 in the first 6 minutes or, blow a huge lead late in the game, whereas I'm like, oh, geez, Iowa, come on. Whereas like a team like Michigan that I'm like, I'm not really watching their games. I'm kind of just looking at the box scores, and that's all I do see out of those games. And so somebody who's actually covering Michigan might see a little bit closer. Oh, they only beat Oregon by 10 points? Oh, man, I don't know about this team. So that is kind of the one of weird nuances of being an AP voter is that, like, the layman who's just in the Reddit comment section might see the logo and be like, oh, this guy's biased. But it's like I've got more of a critical view of Iowa than probably any other voter in the nation right now.
It's kind of like just a weird game nugget from last night before that Kansas game tipped off. I don't know if you caught the Syracuse-North Carolina game.
Well, some snippets of it, yeah.
So North Carolina won by 10. If you look at the box score, it's like, okay, they just cruised.
But they dominated that game, yeah.
Syracuse ended on like a 30 to at one point it was a 30-4 run.
Really?
And they got it within either 4 or 5 points.
Oh, interesting.
And then North Carolina extended it to 10 because they were fouling and stuff. They were trying to hit threes.
Okay.
So it's like if you don't watch that game, you don't know that, oh, wow, Syracuse actually gave them. But, like, Syracuse isn't that good.
Or even 10 almost makes it look closer than what it was for the majority of that game. I mean,
they were up
UNC
by
up by
a
like
lot.
30
Yeah.
for a lot of that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the weird nuances of scoring and how that can affect things.
Back to Iowa, and
Yes.
kind of the reason I asked you last week, like, and I was kind of surprised that a couple wins last week would have got them back in. If you look at the votes that they had, I think last week they had 30 votes. This week they have 39. They haven't really beaten like a top 30 team yet. Actually, they haven't at all. Indiana's like top 35.
Right.
So like when you're looking at top resume and like should they deserve to be ranked, Iowa's still missing like a super top tier quality win that a lot of teams have.
Yeah.
So I think that's the next thing on the bucket list for this team.
And that's what keeps me from voting for them a lot of weeks is that they still don't have quite that resume builder. And I'm somebody who, I do look at what happened this week, but I'm also like, still a little bit more recently. So there are teams where I'm like, oh, yeah, they, went 1-1 this week, but they've lost 3 of their last 4. So that's kind of what can play into some teams' resumes. And same for Iowa. I'm like, yeah, their 2 wins this week were like nice, not super impressive, but they're okay. But they've won 4 straight now. And so you're still kind of factoring in the Indiana win. So, those are the things that kind of weigh in for me. But it's also, I think I told you last week too, that it's like, Kentucky and Louisville lost games last week, and so it's like, all right, I have no problem now bumping them out of my top 25. Yeah. So there's room for Iowa, and I end up putting Texas A&M at number 24.
Sure.
So
who I think is leading in the SEC right now.
I believe they are. Yeah, they've been like just on the fringe of my top 25 all season. I've had my eye on them for a long time, and now finally, it's like, they've had an opportunity to break in there. Yeah, they're 17-4 overall, 7-1 in the conference. Surprisingly leading the SEC and not ranked right now. Just the weird nature of how things go. I don't know how Tennessee is still ranked. I think that team is way too mediocre. But nevertheless, we shall move on to a team that is ranked in the top 10 of the nation still, in spite of 2 wins last week, the Hawkeye women's basketball team. Overall thoughts on the West Coast trip for Iowa. Of course, the 2 losses out there is unfortunate. We've seen what the team looks like without Taylor McCabe in the roster now. Does this 2-game losing streak concern you for what is the future? What is the rest of the season for the Iowa women?
You could definitely take that argument, and I wouldn't be able to fight you on that. Just the way that they've looked, I think, in both games, not the greatest. I think I'm going to chalk it up to a tough West Coast trip where they're in LA for like 5 days, and like it's almost like a vacation against one hungry team who got some players back and are, we're looking for that win. Kind of, I've heard the reverse of Iowa USC last year.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I hadn't heard that, but yeah, that's true.
And I think I saw that from Chad Lystico, so I want to give him credit. I think I heard on one of his podcasts. And then obviously UCLA is like a national title contender. Right. So, like, you chalk that up to a loss. Once you lost the USC game, you're like, okay, I think 0-2 is kind of likely. But, that team is so good. I don't even know how to overly criticize Iowa for that loss. On the road at Pauley Pavilion.
The UCLA one?
The UCLA one, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another one. I mean, both of those games, you do really think, like, just in the revisionist history of, like, could they have gone 2-0 on that road trip if Taylor McCabe was healthy? I mean, does she make up for it enough that she helps them beat UCLA? I don't know, but it does seem like they are just trying to figure things out without her. Jan has talked several times over the last week since we had a chance to, in part break the news of McCabe's injury on this podcast, how much she means to the roster, just effort-wise, defensively, putting up a few 3-pointers, being a senior leader, like keeping the calm, steady nerves in the huddle. Like, Taylor brings so much more to the table than just what we see in the box score, and you have to think that certainly affected the USC game and possibly the UCLA game too.
That's really hard to judge because you can't see that on a box score. You can't even see it in a game because she's not in there, to calm the nerves. I do think it directly correlates, though, to, and did we anoint Eddie Deal too fast after a couple games? She goes out west, and I want to give some benefit of the doubt. I want to chalk that up to, I mean, you got to imagine she was under, I don't want to say nerves, but just she probably was under pressure to perform near her hometown.
Right.
So, but, you know, we were talking about how well she was playing. Comes out, she had more turnovers out west than points. She had 4 turnovers and 3 points in 2 games. Again, I don't want to overly criticize her. She's a freshman. She's growing. But I think you expect more out of a 5-star recruit than what she got you, especially when she jumped in the starting lineup. I almost think that, you know, when you're looking at it, I wonder if she comes off the bench and plays better. Is that a factor? Do you start Stremlow? Because she seems composed for a sophomore.
Certainly. Yeah, big time. I was just surprised. I mean, what surprised me more almost with Addie was the USC game where she only took 2 shots the entire game. I just thought that with her entering the starting lineup, being in her hometown, like this emotional, like kind of homecoming for her, that Jan might provide more opportunities for her to actually take some shots and build some more confidence against USC before you go into that UCLA game where then she ends up going 1 for 7. I was just surprised at her limited. She only played 17 minutes in that game. I'm like, you know, for a star to only play that much, I just kind of thought that there might be a little bit more of an opportunity there for her versus what we ended up seeing there against the Trojans.
Yeah, you're talking maybe not enough drawn-up plays for her or something like that?
I guess, or I just thought she would be a bigger part of the game plan.
Yeah, me too.
Based on what she'd done, previously, having 20 points against Ohio State, having 18 against Oregon, you think, all right, maybe this is a player that's starting to find her stride. We've got full confidence in her. Jan said, this is what we recruited her for, and why we recruited her is that we know that she's going to be ready for this moment. But it's almost like she didn't get a chance to step into the moment just because of the limited minutes and shots that she was able to take.
I do think USC definitely cover her like she was a legit threat. And I wonder if, because they've got a pretty good ball defender, can't remember her name right now. But anyway, I know she had been missing in their other games, and she came back, and I thought she was playing pretty well.
Okay.
It was kind of hard, the dynamic of the game, where USC jumps out as 28-13, you're chasing. But Addie's such a good three-point shooter, so I don't know if they didn't draw anything up or if it was covered. But, yeah, you think you could utilize one of her skill sets. With Taylor gone, she's might be the best three-point shooter on the team, unless I'm forgetting someone. Yep. I mean, when I was watching the games, I thought Chit-Chat had a quiet 2 games, but I looked back and she kind of was around her average. She had 10 to 13, So the one thing that was missing against UCLA, it's the paint production. But you're playing against those 2 Bet sisters who are just gigantic. It's hard to get anything inside. But what was the stat? UCLA outscored them 56-26 in the paint. Yeah,
which is certainly expected or understandable this year. Even though you have Hannah Stolke's experience, you do then have a freshman and a sophomore as your other paint presences. So as much as Ava Hayden is growing, that's still tough keeping up with a player like Lauren Betts. I was maybe a little bit more disappointed in the paint production against USC. Again, there too, Hannah Stolke, just 10 points, only 1 rebound she had in that game against USC. That's the one where it's you really do need Hannah to show up in a game like that. And instead of 20, that's a game where you need 20 points out of Hannah, especially coming off the McCabe injury. And that was, I think, one of the biggest things that set them back against USC.
Yeah, and I'd say the numbers don't look that bad when I look at the box score, but I thought the three-point defense, they've generally been good all year, and it wasn't that great. Mainly in the first half, you saw London Jones hit I don't know how many threes in the first half, and Cara Dunn played pretty well, and Jazzy David, is it Davidson?
Davidson, yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing too. I think they each hit 3 or 4 threes. They only hit 10 for 27 as a team total, which is a little bit better than Iowa did that night, but it just seemed like the timing when they piled on the lead kind of hurt the Hawkeyes early. So, yeah, I chalk it up to a bad road trip, right? The West Coast trips can be tough.
Can't all be perfect, especially with a young team like this. Can't all go great. So it could just be, you hope it's just, kind of a fluky bad road trip for them. But
the glass half full take is, imagine what the record or the sentiment would feel like if you didn't win those 3 top 15 matchups beforehand. Yeah, because you have some wiggle room. Iowa was second in the Big Ten. Looking at the Big Ten standings now, they dropped to 4th place.
Okay.
and are only one game. Michigan State's one game behind them. So when you're looking at getting the double bye, I think the 2 goals for the season, right? Getting a double bye in the Big Ten tournament, see how far you go, and then hosting for the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Those are still in play.
100%.
I didn't think winning the conference was, in play.
Yeah. With UCLA,
even at 9-0,
who they are, and it's still surprising looking ahead at the schedule as if we want to bring up, what Iowa has in front of them. You see the 4 games on the schedule. They only have 3 more games outside of that left in the regular season. So only 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to say 9 guaranteed games remaining, assuming they get into the NCAA tournament. So the days are limited for what we see out of the Hawkeye women's team. So coming up, we have a Minnesota team that is a rivalry game. That's always a tough one. Don Plitzaway, the coach of Minnesota, always has a good team prepared. Then they have number 24, Washington, coming to town. Then they head on the road to Nebraska and Purdue. After that, they do have 8th-ranked Michigan team, too. But only 2 games left against ranked opponents. That's Washington and Michigan, ranked right now, I should say. Nebraska's spent time in the top 25, as has Illinois this year, I believe. Minnesota, I think, has even hovered around there at points as well.
Minnesota's interesting. I put this in my notes. So they're not ranked in the AP. Their net ranking is 9th. It's higher than Iowa's.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, 10th.
Okay.
And Iowa's 12th. So, I did that last night. So, wait, no, 9th. That's right.
They're not far off of Iowa in the Big Ten standings right now. Minnesota is 7th. They're 7-4 in the league, 16-6 overall. So that's a good team that you don't want to overlook now. I do think that that's a team also that Iowa's going to come out and Minnesota's going to get Iowa's best after that road trip. I think that Jane's got to be working this team hard enough right now that they're not going to have another game off when they play Minnesota, which we didn't even mention this necessarily, but I heard somebody say the other day just that, that Iowa men's loss to Minnesota, gosh, in hindsight, that still looks just so bad because they have not played well this year.
No.
And so you would hope that the Iowa women don't suffer the same fate. Even though the Minnesota women are better than the Minnesota men, it's that still is not a loss you can afford to have.
Here's the count. The Minnesota women, looking at their schedule, a lot like the Iowa men. They don't have a super high-quality win. They did beat USC when they were ranked 63-62. But all the other good teams in the Big Ten they've lost to. Lost to Michigan by 10. They lost to Washington. They lost to UCLA.
Only 1 point loss to Maryland.
1 point loss to 199.
Yep.
They lost to other Power 4 teams like Alabama and Kansas. But their power ratings are good. So I think they're hungry to get a marquee win against a top 10 team.
Yeah. Yeah, their best wins are, Indiana and USC, I guess I would say, are their most impressive wins on their resume right now. USC, when they played them, that was a top 25 win. So that's
That Oregon's not a bad win.
That's true. And so Washington, Nebraska, Purdue. Yeah, like you say, those goals that you talked about for the Iowa women, everything is in front of them. When you look at this next 4-game stretch, there's no reason you can't win these next 4 games. It's it's not an easy task, but there's no reason that you cannot be favored in all of these next 4 games. And if not 6 of your last 7 games, I would doubt they'd be favored when they end up playing Michigan. I forget, is that
It's Carver.
Is that Carver? Yeah, so, could be a toss-up in that one. They might be favored against Michigan, too. But you could be a favorite in your last 7 regular season games. And so, at this point, could you possibly run the table when you go into the postseason?
That'd be tough to do. I think you got to put 1 or 2 losses in there. But say they go 6-1, that still puts them at 24-5 overall. That's 2-3 seed, right?
Yeah, oh, certainly. Yeah, that's a couple home games at Carver in the postseason.
So that's a pretty good season with a very young team, especially losing one of your senior leaders.
Maybe this is a dumb question. Would you rather have a double bye in the Big Ten tournament or home games in the NCAAs? It's home games in the NCAAs, right?
But I can't imagine there's a lot of teams that get double bye in the Big Ten that don't.
That don't get a home game. It's true.
Maybe 10 years ago when the Big Ten wasn't as good.
Yeah.
There
are 5 Big Ten teams who could get home games in the NCAA tournament, and maybe even 6 if you would count Maryland in there. But when you got UCLA, Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, and Michigan State, they're all ranked in the top 12 right now. So it's hard for all those teams not to get into a log jam and not get out of each other's way. But there's a scenario where you have 5 Big Ten teams hosting in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, you definitely could. And I wonder if Minnesota and Washington don't think they could sneak into the double bye range. Say Iowa takes a few more losses. Michigan State just lost. I think they should have beat Michigan a few nights ago. I was watching that game. I was like, can't believe they tied it to go into overtime and then just collapse in overtime. Yeah.
Yeah. Maryland style against Iowa, I suppose.
Yeah.
94-91.
So you can't put it past those two teams, but if Iowa takes care of business against Washington and Minnesota, that might put them out of the zone with 5 games left or so.
Well, the season is winding down. Gosh, I mean, when you look at that schedule, that's less than a month left for the Hawkeye women's team until we get to Big Ten tournament time. So Mike and I, especially, are going to be following this team every step of the way as we go on forward, and we'll be having Eye on the Hawks episodes from here towards the end of the season, hopefully with a few more guests coming into the studio here. Of course, you can follow us on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts, Spotify, and so forth. You can find On the Hawks. So again, thank you for Mike for doing lots of research, to Erica for punching all the buttons in the back, and to myself for just trying to fill time with all the noises that I make. So we're here, Owen and Mike, on Eye on the Hawks. We'll see you again next time.
At DePaco Credit Union, we value your health and happiness as much as your financial well-being. We encourage the volunteer spirit by providing DePaco employees with the tools and resources to help grow our communities and support the causes that matter to us. We believe that giving back not only strengthens the places we call home, but also enhances our overall well-being. Well-being is the key to a life worth loving. So when you think about yours, remember that DePaco can help you be well.